So in the last 2 YouTube videos I've shared with you, I've talked about why you need to disagree and how you can disagree assertively. Now, sometimes what happens when you are disagreeing with somebody, when you and the other person have differing opinions, is it leads to a disagreement deadlock, where you and the other person just cannot agree on anything at all. Now, this is something you do not want to happen in a work environment. You definitely want to avoid it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about disagreement deadlock and how to avoid it. I'm going to talk about what is a disagreement deadlock. I'm going to share a 3-step process to overcome a disagreement deadlock and some sample sentences that you can use during a disagreement deadlock to try and overcome it and move the conversation forward. But before we get started, I'm Cara Ronan. I'm a leadership coach and I help emerging leaders just like you build visibility and influence so you can unlock your leadership potential. I'm also a 2-time best-selling Udemy course instructor for my video courses Business Etiquette 101 and the Assertive Communication Skills Masterclass. I will link to them below if you want to check them out. Now, if you want to know where you stand on your leadership development, then you will be interested in the Leadership Evaluation Toolkit. It's a free download from my website, a 35-question self-assessment on leadership so you know where you stand as a leader. I will link to that in the description below so you can download it if you want to check it out. So what are you dealing with in a disagreement deadlock? Well, one of the first things that you really need to remember is that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. This is one of the fundamental principles of assertive communication. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody has a right to their ideas as well. Now, being able to express your opinions and your ideas or your disagreements in an assertive way is a skill that you learn in assertive communication. But just because you have your opinion, it doesn't mean that other people have to agree with it. It doesn't mean they have to agree with your opinion or see things your way, because they have their right to their own opinion. And this is where the problem occurs. This is what leads to communication breakdown and a disagreement deadlock. Now, when you're with a conversation partner who is assertive or who is passive, if you're in a disagreement deadlock, it is much easier to get out of because you're with somebody who is willing to listen to your opinion and willing to give you the space to talk. So it's much easier to resolve the issue. But when you are with an aggressive conversation partner, that's when the problem occurs, or that's when the disagreement deadlock becomes problematic. So an aggressive conversation partner, that is somebody who is stubborn. That is somebody who does not want to listen to your viewpoint, does not want to listen to your opinion, is not open to hearing anything you have to say at all. And of course, this leads to deadlock. But what you need to do in this situation is you need to find a common ground. This is the key to overcoming disagreement deadlock. And I'm going to share with you right now in this video a few steps that you can go through to do this. Step 1, understand their viewpoint. So when you're with an aggressive conversation partner, what do they want? Well, they want to be at the forefront of the conversation. They want their opinions heard. They want their ideas to be the ones that people are listening to in the conversation. So if you try to jump in with your opinion, jump in with your disagreement without even listening to theirs, they're going to have their block up. Their natural defense mechanism will rise, it will increase, and it will be impossible for you to jump into the conversation and share your disagreement. You're going to be hitting up against the resistance of their defense wall that they already have up. If you try to cut them off, if you try to push your opinion on them, their block will go up, emotions will fly, the friction will become even stronger, and there will be less chance of them listening to what you have to say. What you need to do in this situation is you need to let them talk. You need to let them get their opinion across, get their idea or their viewpoint across. Don't interrupt them and actually encourage them to talk. And you can say things like, tell me more, I'm interested in what you're saying, or tell me more, I want to understand, or help me understand where you're coming from. Questions like this will help that person feel that they have been heard, which is exactly what they want. They want to feel that you are giving them the space to talk, the space so that they can get their voice and their opinions out there. And this often helps them bring down their block, bring down their defense mechanism so they're more open to hearing what you have to say. Once they feel heard, from you. They'll be more likely to listen to you. Step 2 is to get them to listen to your viewpoint. So once you've given them the space to talk and the space to share their opinion or viewpoint, it is your time to do that. Now remember, it is your right to have an opinion as well. So it's your right to share your opinion just like your conversation partner just did. So this is your time to talk. Now, when you are with an aggressive conversation partner, it will be harder for you to get the chance to talk. So you probably have to push your opinion more onto that person. If you're with a passive conversation partner, it is sometimes difficult to get the space to talk as well, not because they won't let you talk, but more because they will want to hurry and end the conversation because it's so stressful, they just want to quickly get out of it. So with passive conversation partners, you do still have to highlight that you want to put your opinion out there and you want to talk to them about your viewpoint and what you have to say. So in both cases, you need to make it clear that you have something to say. And here is what you can say. Thank you for sharing your viewpoint, Jennifer. I've given you the space to talk. Now I'd like to explain my viewpoint to you. And then you launch into what you have to say. Now what this does is 3 things. The first thing is it acknowledges their viewpoint. The second thing is it highlights that you've given them the space to talk. And the third thing it does is it carves out the space so you can share your opinion. So you've let them share their opinion. They have felt important. They have felt heard. That has brought their defense mechanism down. You have announced that you have your opinion to share now, and they're more likely to listen to you because their defense mechanism is down and they're more open to hearing what you have to say. Now it is time for you to swoop in and actually state your opinion or state your disagreement or your viewpoint. Step 3 is to collaborate to find a compromise. So you're in a disagreement deadlock. They've put their opinion out there, you've put your opinion out there, and both opinions are in disagreement. They don't mesh. So what you need to do here is find a compromise or find some kind of common ground. Now this is most challenging when you're with an aggressive conversation partner because they are stubborn and they don't want to give in to other people's opinions and they don't want to see things from a different perspective. And the best strategy that works in this situation is a compromising conflict style. So this is where 2 people come together to find some kind of an agreement or solution. And my favorite phrase to use here is, what can we do to change this situation? And this phrase works really well for 2 reasons. The first is we bring in we. So we bring the other person into the conversation. We don't make it, this is what I want to do to fix and change the situation. We turn it into a we. So we involve the other person into the solution and into solving the problem. This signals collaboration, which is a sought after skill in leadership. And it also signals that you are focused on solving the problem or the issue. You're not out there to put blame on anybody. You know, people can become really defensive and refuse to let go of their position if they feel you are trying to blame them, or if they feel that you're trying to point a finger at them or single them out in some way. By using we, you signal that you are after a compromise. You are after collaboration to find some kind of an agreement and some kind of a solution. You are focused on solving the problem. You're not focused on blaming the other person. Now, if you are with a reasonable conversation partner, they're likely to go along with this and recognize this and work with you to find a solution to the problem. But if you are not with a reasonable person, then you may simply need to agree to disagree. You might need to walk away from the conversation and accept that there is no agreement to be had with this person. You know, sometimes you will be with a conversation partner who isn't willing to budge, who isn't willing to listen to your opinion or change their perspective or see things in any other way than their own. Now, these are usually aggressive conversation partners, and they are quite difficult to deal with. What you need to remember is that you can't force people to see things your way. You can try to get them to see things your way. You can communicate with them, explain your position, and try to convince them to see things your way, but it doesn't always work. And in those cases, agreeing to disagree is really the only solution. Now, to quickly recap on this 3-step process that we've covered in this video, the first step was to understand their viewpoint and use something like, "Tell me more, I want to understand." This will encourage them to talk. The second step is encourage them to listen to your viewpoint. So you can say something like, "Thank you for sharing your viewpoint, Jennifer. I've given you the space to talk. Now I'd like to share my viewpoint." And then you launch into what you have to say. And the third step is collaborate to find a compromise. And in this, you would say something like, "What can we do to change the situation?" Well, I hope this video will help you handle a disagreement deadlock, help you know what to say and how to handle it better. If you did like these tips, then leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me which tip you think will be more helpful for you, or if the whole sequence will be helpful for you next time you're in a disagreement deadlock. And make sure you check out the podcast episode on the Leadership Pod. I will link to that in the description below as well. I have a whole podcast episode on this exact topic, which goes into it in a lot more depth than this YouTube video, so make sure you check that out. Now, if you are interested in learning how to communicate assertively, so you can disagree assertively, so you can say no, so you can set boundaries, then definitely check out the Assertive Communication Skills Masterclass. This is one of my best-selling Udemy courses on the platform. I have had over 3,000 students go through this course. It's a 3-hour course, and it will teach you a bunch of things starting from fears about being assertive, non-verbal strategies for assertive communication, how to be assertive in one-on-one conversation, how to be assertive in group conversations, and then verbal strategies to be assertive. For example, how to set boundaries, how to say no, and how to disagree assertively with people. So definitely check that course out. If assertive communication is something that you want to work on, I will link to it in the description below. Now, if you did like this video, make sure you hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. I release videos every week for emerging leaders that will definitely help you out. So subscribe with the button below and hit the notification bell as well, so you get notified every time I release a new video and you don't miss out. Now, next week I will be back with another video. I hope you can join me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.